Rob Dahm from Rob Dahm on YouTube, Dr. M3 here, and he's here. He brought from Michigan this amazing Lamborghini Diablo. You guys know this is 6.0 VT. So Rob, tell us a little bit about this car.
Well, I've had this car for about 3 years now, and she's been the love of my life much longer than that. I've been obsessed with the Diablo since about 91 when I was in second grade, and the Guinness Book of World Records had the car as the fastest street production vehicle. That's all it took. And so I started a business back in high school, and it quickly grew, and I purchased my childhood dream car. This car actually helped me also start the YouTube channel that I've run.
And you can find that link right here.
And you see quite a few videos explaining what it's like, for somebody who lives in a city that is not very large to purchase a very extravagant vehicle and see how the community reacts. So, nice little information.
So there's, your YouTube viewers and mine who have subscribed to you have seen you sort of grow and gone through the growing pains of owning an exotic. Including some things that happened recently, and it's something unusual too, because you've shared with the YouTube community really what it's like, from the highs to the lows, and the accidents you have recently, and now the car is back together. And the thing that's so awesome is you drove this car all the way from Michigan, which most people are like, oh, it's my exotic, it's in the garage and it stays there, and that's not like what a lot of us do these days, right? We drive these cars.
Yes.
So tell us about that experience, your trip out.
Well, first of all, it's really nice to be on this side of the car, because this is actually where the damage, when I spun the vehicle out about 9 months ago, it was right here. And so she looks perfect. The car is in better shape than it ever has been.
You can't even tell.
Yeah. And so I'm very pleased with getting the car back. And so this is the first major drive for me to celebrate having the car back. And so the whole front of the vehicle is wrapped. I'm going to have the rest of the car wrapped in Expel. And until then, I had to put masking tape, the good old blue masking tape trick on all the vents, so that way the car could handle making it from Michigan to here. And actually later tonight, I will be driving back to Michigan.
Home. Yeah.
And it's amazing, because this is the first year of the Diablo. This is the last year of the Diablo. It's the first year where it was really reliable enough to take it and treat it, more like a modern car. And she's been very good to me, very good to me.
So why don't we walk around the car and tell us about the features, the things that are uniquely Lamborghini. What makes this, one, I think for me, and I, like you, had this car on my wall, and that's the car, and it's the 6.0 VT. This is the version of the Diablo that I love the best. So why don't you walk us around the car, tell us a little bit
Absolutely.
about it.
Well, one of the unique things I'll start with something I've recently learned, is that if you look up close at some of the exposed carbon fiber, you'll notice that there's a blue thread through it. That is unique to this Diablo this year, and consequently very expensive. But that's something I thought was very beautiful, is when I had to get the parts replaced on this car. You can't just get any carbon fiber. So this car is painted in a Galileo Orion, which isn't unique to the Diablo, but it is unique to Lamborghini. So it's a 4-stage paint, painted green first. So sometimes the video will capture it where it starts green and then you get a gold and yellow coloring. My car is unique in the sense that I put Murcielago wheels on there. Those are the Hercules wheels. I've seen one or two other Diablos with them, but this is one of my signatures. This is what I wanted on this car. Now, the entire front is carbon fiber. The front bumper, when I wrecked it, front bumper is actually fiberglass. So that's not this one, but the stock front bumper is fiberglass. Very short, which is one of the things I wanted badly in a vehicle. The doors, though, like I said, the most of the vehicle is carbon fiber, fiberglass, but the doors are actually made out of steel, and that's for safety reasons. So they've got a nice heavy throw to them. Going over here, oh, actually, you know what? We'll go right here. This is the one I forget. I love to take for granted. Is this carbon fiber piece, again the blue threaded piece, covers the Nissan logo on the headlights. And those are stock headlights, where they decided to use Nissan's headlights for the last year of the vehicle, and made it a design cue to cover that with carbon fiber. So I do share the same headlights as the Nissan 300Z.
300Z.
You'll hear a lot of people on my YouTube or Facebook say, "Oh, nice 300Z replica," and from the headlights on, I guess they can be right.
I would say that's a really nice replica. So
Yeah.
that's all good. It's all love.
There we go. Yeah, that's a rare sight, the gas gauge at full. So what the Diablo is going to do is go from about 1100 to 1200 RPM. It's going to bounce back and forth, back and forth. And we're going to wait a little bit until the oil cooler, the oil warms up. And until then, you're going to hear it go up and down a little bit. Okay, here we go. Some of the things unique to this vehicle, or at least the Diablo in general.
So it's always interesting, right? So we're talking about Lamborghini, and the Ferrari has to try to take the attention. It's all good. We love it. So we're in the same family.
So when you look in here, you're going to see that this is actually a driven vehicle. I bought it with 11,000 miles 3 years ago, and it's got 20 and change. I just hit 20,000 miles, which is a big number for a Lamborghini. That's a very not scary number, but people really use that number often in Diablos.
Yeah.
So inside here, you'll see that this year the Diablo has a much smoother interior. 99 on, they went with this more of a swept look. If you look at the older ones, they have a very square interior. So this is, in my opinion, is a more of a timeless look. Now, one of the ways I like to describe this is that it's a piece of metal, a piece of machinery, just covered in a thin layer of hand-wrapped Italian leather. Because this is a very raw car. This is not a luxury car. This is not a current exotic. This is a race car. So some of the other nice things is that most people assume that this is the air intake, and it is an air intake of sorts, but this is actually the radiator. So your radiator fans will pull air in here. This is the air intake. This is actually where the air... There we go again.
That is his V10 brother. Give it a moment. Hold on.
I was saying this is actually the air intake for the engine. It's much smaller. You don't even notice it at first because you've got, like I said, the radiator intake as well as the oil coolers down here. And that really is the same general design on all of the Lamborghinis, but mine are very pronounced. They don't move. That's it. They're fixed. Now, this engine is the heart of the beast. This is absolutely one of my favorite things about the car, which it wouldn't go anywhere if it didn't have it. I just actually replaced the spark plugs on this before my trip out here. And one of the coolest parts about this engine that most people don't know when they talk about maintenance, this car actually has two computers. One for the left side of the engine, one for the right. So the thing thinks it's two inline six-cylinder engines. It treats it like two engines. And consequently having two computers to run the fuel and whatnot. So I also have two check engine lights. And on the way here, I actually just getting the car so warm, both check engine lights fired up, and take her to the gas station, cool her down, and away we go. So this is a very fun car. One of the things that people will always point out is the firing order, which I just can't imagine. If I lost or misplaced some of the spark plug wires, to the coils, I would be in serious trouble. The only modification this car has, in terms of performance-wise, in here is a Borla. Yes, a Borla exhaust system, a catback system. So it does sound a little different. It doesn't sound like any of the other Diablos. And what people see is I have a 4 exhaust pipe system instead of the standard 2. and that's more of a reminiscent to the old Diablos, not the modern ones with the center stacks. So it's really kind of a rundown about the Diablo and what makes it special to me.
But what's a parting word for somebody who is looking for that first car?
Well,
first exotic.
Yes, for first exotic. You know, that's also something where I'd say don't compromise, because if this is gonna be a huge part of your life. It's the second and arguably sometimes the most expensive purchase of your life.
Yeah.
And so don't short sheet yourself. For example, when I was gonna purchase this vehicle, one of the dealerships I'd gone to was like, no, because of maintenance and whatnot, you want a Gallardo. And I not here. I didn't want a Gallardo. Yes, it was less expensive than this one, but it wasn't where my heart was at. And I knew if I had gotten that car, which still would have been roughly the same, impact on my life, I wouldn't have been 100% as satisfied. So when it comes to looking at that, don't listen to the sales guy for things that you aren't familiar with. Research it later, fact check and see if that's what matches up with what you want. That's probably the most important thing I can say about purchasing your first exotic.
Yeah, is get what you want, not necessarily what. And it may mean that you may have to wait a little bit.
Yes.
To get it. The timing needs to be right. Okay.
So a lot of people commonly ask me, what do you do for a living? Or, how would I afford a vehicle like this? And I think the number one thing is that when it becomes an obsession, when anything in life becomes more of an obsession, not just I'd like or I kind of would be kind of cool, when you make it your life dedicated towards it, it's way more likely to happen. And that's something that causes you to continue to go back at it even after you fail, because failure is sadly and just a natural part of success is that you got to keep trying until it just breaks through.
Yeah.
You only really have to succeed once.
Yeah, and actually I say that to folks in a couple of my videos where I say that failure, it's weird, you don't want to fail all the time. The more times you fail and you pick yourself up and keep going, the more likely you are to gain that success. It happens with smokers all the time, right? So every time the folks come and say, I failed smoking again, I can't do it. And they try again. Every time you try, you're that much more likely to get the success that you need. So, failure is a natural part of learning and is actually, I would say, tell me if you agree, it's actually, failure is essential to success.
100% agree.
I've never been so excited. A manual Lamborghini. Rob Dahm's Diablo.
Danny's a golden boy. You get to drive everything. What the hell?
Off, there we go. Seatbelt's backwards in here, I just noticed that. I love boobies. They're great. This is the coolest fucking car ever.